because we're looking for things. So we're looking for fishing nets. We're looking for crocodiles in the water. We're looking for people in canoes.
I hate it when I land on the crocodiles. It's Mark, it is so great of you to give us a ride.
Hey Dan, it's for me, it's you can talk about an airplane and what it can do. It's kind of like me talking about what we can do in Papua New Guinea, but you go experience it, and that brings it all real. You know, when I tell stories about access and about this plane being able to access people,
right?
Until you go out of the water and see how you can land anywhere and turn and around rivers and things like that. I mean, you realize this plane has so much capability in areas that wheel planes can't go.
Yeah, it just, when we talked last year, you know, I've done stuff with Ryan at Missionary Bush Pilot. You know, he's flying that, is it the Kodiak?
Yep.
Yeah, he's flying that Kodiak up into those mountain strips, and they need that. But yeah, you've got people with major medical needs canoeing, you know, 2 weeks to try to get to help. And now you're able to go in on these rivers. Any river now becomes a runway. And bringing aid and supplies. I mean, it's real world Christianity.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we call ourselves Samaritan Aviation. It's based on the story in the Bible about when Jesus said, "Who's your neighbor?" You know,
right.
And for us Papua New Guineans are our neighbors, and we offer this service for no cost to those people because they don't have any funds, and so we have been blessed. This is our 13th year now of operating this free service in Papua New Guinea, serving 350,000 people that are 1 to 3 to 5 days away from the only hospital, and really have no hope if they have a snake bite. You know, you have 8 hours to live if you get bit by a death adder, and so if you're 3 days away from the only hospital,
you're dead.
You're gone. So mothers and breech births, 40% of what we do is mothers and babies, and so you think of your own kids. You know, on those of us who know people or have, personally, my wife had a complication with our first child that she wouldn't have lived over in New Guinea. Neither one of them. And so it's real to me when I talk about saving babies, saving mothers. These are real stories. You know, they're real people. And imagine if that was your child or your grandchild or your wife or your father, mother. It kind of brings it home.
Yeah, it does. And you got a big need right now for pilots, which surprises me because, I mean, if I was a 22-year-old pilot and I just wanted to give back for, you know, a year or 2 years or 3 or stay for a career, I don't know. Man, I would want to go out there.
Yeah, no, I think part of it is, the adventure part of it is great, and it is an adventure. Trust me, it's frontline stuff, but it's also very real. You know, you're moving
and hard.
And very hard. And you're living in a different culture, different living conditions, long ways away from what you know. And all of our pilots, they have to come over for a minimum of 2 years at a time. They have to raise all their own salaries. And we have a pretty stringent assessment process to make sure that they will be good pilots, make good decisions, and also be good teammates with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and be able to put up with, I mean, it's almost like the special forces, I guess. You have to find that pilot who not only is a good pilot, but can live and operate in these kind of conditions.
That's right, and if they have a family, wife and kids, then they have to be able to survive as well. So yeah, it gets very difficult to find the right people with the right calling and the right capabilities.
How many pilots you have right now?
We have 5 pilots at the moment.
And you need how many more?
We need 3 pilots in the next 18 months.
3 pilots in the next 18 months. And what are the minimum kind of requirements for a pilot to fly for you guys?
Yeah, typically pilots have 500 hours at least by the time they get there, but guys start talking to us. The last pilot we had started talking to us at 300 hours, and by the time he did his float training and the training in our plane here in the States and flew in New Guinea for the first 6 months, he got about 120 hours. He had his 550 hours to go. So we really want pilots to come talk to us, because if we can assess and find out they have the capability, the decision-making abilities, the ability to deal with people, deal with other cultures, we'd rather find that out early and spend a couple of years with them, helping them get there, than to have them wait till they get a certain amount of hours to come talk to us. So we encourage people, if you think this is something you would like to do, come talk to us now. Let's start building a relationship so that when you're ready, we're all ready to gather.
Yeah, so it's not a commitment right now, but but if you're out there and you're thinking about, maybe I will do this, start the conversation.
Absolutely.
You're not committing.
Yep.
And that way you as a pilot can kind of look at them and see if it's a good fit, while they look at you to see if it's a good fit.
And part of the whole thing, there's a flight assessment. There's also a trip over to New Guinea, so the pilot can see what it's like, can visit, can go on flights, can understand what he's getting into.
Yeah.
And so that's an important part of the process. And so that whole process does take, 6 to 8 months to a year anyway. So yeah, come talk to us early.
Yeah.
And you can go to our website too, SamaritanAviation.org. On there, on job opportunities, the process is all laid out there, including the application and a phone number that you can call. And we'd love to talk to you.
I know in a lot of the mission aviation, the golden ticket is a pilot who is also an A&P. Is that the case here?
We're getting to a point now where we don't require an A&P.
Okay, good.
But we do prefer it. Obviously, if you have it, we love
that is the golden ticket,
that someone can fix a plane that they're flying. That's always a bonus. But we are getting to the point now where we do have a maintenance director now. And a couple guys that are just focused on maintenance,
nice.
Which we didn't have in the past.
Right.
When I went over there in the early days and brought the first plane,
it was just you and a 206.
It was me, my wife, and 3 kids in a 206, and I had to fix and fly everything. So the A&P at that point was critical for our success.
Right. Yeah, you had to have it.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Well, hopefully you'll get some good pilots who will be a good fit. And yeah, I really love what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate you telling our story, and for me, it's exciting to see the capacity continue to grow for Samaritan Aviation. And this year already, we've flown in over 200 patients in the first 6 months. This will be the busiest year we've ever had as far as saving lives and serving the people there through medevacs and medicine delivery, and also we had a big earthquake a few months ago, and so flying out and picking up patients where their bush houses had fallen down on them. That's another part of what we do. But, yeah, the capacity continues to grow, and that's exciting to me. The need has been there. The need is great. And so as we add airplanes, add pilots, it just allows us to serve these people better.
Yeah. Now, what are we doing right now here?
Yeah, so we're just...
So I've never been in a seaplane.
Okay.
I want to get my seaplane rating, but I've never been in a seaplane.
Gotcha. So, yeah, right now we're just warming up the oil in the bay here at Oshkosh, and so I'm going through my checks now. The oil's getting warm, and so I've got this little checklist up here, and so going through doing my pre-flight. We don't have like a checklist on our lap. We have it up here on the panel.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, and all of our planes in New Guinea have actual flip tabs, which we'll have here shortly, where you actually flip a tab so you know you've done it.
Oh, yeah,
so
Ryan at Missionary Bush Pilot has that in his...
he's got a great mod there, and so it's good to have that, because it just, mentally you've done it, and you know you've done it because you can visually see it. So I'm just going through my checks here. We'll give it a little run up here to check the mags and prop as well. All right, you guys ready to go? You can put your seatbelts on. Everybody's got their belts. Doors are closed.
Belt check. Doors are closed.
You. Seaplane base, Samaritan. We're getting ready to take off out of the bay over to Warburg Island. All right, last things, water rudders are up. Basically, your yoke is back in your lap, which is something very different in a wheel plane, as you know. You don't usually put the yoke in your lap. Right. And then you're just waiting for it to get enough speed to get up on the step, and then you're kind of a boat, basically, as you wait for your speed to build. So, and you're just kind of keeping it with your elevator on the water enough to not dig at your nose or not drag your tail. And
so it's a complete touch thing.
Yeah.
And then boom.
And then you just lift whenever you have the speed you need.
Wow.
Typically 20 degrees on takeoff and landing most of the time. And so that's a little different as well. We don't use 30 degrees very often.
Wow.
The other thing about seaplane flying is typically our patterns are a little bit lower. In New Guinea, our patterns are about 600, but a lot of times you'll be down around 50 to 25 looking for fishing nets, depending on if you're on a lake or something. And so that's a little different. Here at the seaplane base, it's a 400-foot pattern that they have us on here as we stay below the warbird area. The warbirds come over the island and go inbound, so we stay below the 11:20.
Okay.
Typically. So this is, that's the one thing about seaplane flying. Flying low is very common. A lot of pilots, they don't like to blow low and slow, but that's really what we do most of the time. Because we're looking for things. So we're looking for fishing nets. We're looking for crocodiles in the water. We're looking for people in canoes.
I hate it when I land on the crocodiles. It's a problem.
We've had one pilot have to do a go around because he was going to hit a crocodile. I've landed and had a croc come up right next to me right afterwards. So
nice. He was looking for some help.
That's right.
Some handouts.
But so you're looking for people in canoes. Sandbars. The river's the color of chocolate, so you can't see more than an inch or two below. So as you scan the river, if there's been a lot of rain, obviously you've got lots of logs and debris. And I've seen 50-foot, 100-foot long trees floating down the river with roots sticking up 50 feet. Looks like a house floating down the river. So there's a lot of things you have to think about once you get to the river, and then you got to decide, how am I going to dock this thing? Sometimes you're between two palm trees and you've got 20 feet to make it, and you got to do it right the first time, and then you have the whole village running at the airplane, right? So then you're like, okay, I got to get out. I've got to explain it in their language. We all speak Tok-Pisin, Melanesian Tok-Pisin, and so you have to make sure they understand what not to grab. Grabbing ailerons is never a good thing.
So you learn, no, get back, stay away.
Yeah, you talk them through it, and the kids get real excited, and sometimes, your wings literally a foot above the bank. So now you're hanging it out there that way and trying to make that decision. And then the next week you come to the same spot and the bank is 20 feet above the airplane.
Oh, wow.
So that's another big part of what we do is just, it's different from a pilot standpoint, which is something I love because
every day's an adventure.
Every day is different. Every day you're using all of your abilities to figure it out.
You're not like punching a time clock at 9 a.m. and punching out at 5?
Yeah, no.
With your 15-minute breaks at 10:30 and 2:45?
And that's what I tell, mission, emergencies are never planned. And so you are always on call. We're on call 7 days a week over there.
Yeah.
And we have a nurse that's holding a phone, a trauma nurse, and talking to the villages. Sometimes they have to climb, run 30 minutes, climb a coconut tree to get a signal or climb a mountain. But they all know kind of where those signals are for the cell phones, and they're able to reach out to us. And then our trauma nurse makes a decision on whether we go and when we go and what kind of level of emergency it is. So depending on if it's a snake bite, obviously we're bringing anti-venom.
Right.
If it's a pregnancy issue, we're going to bring a midwife and that sort of thing. If it's a trauma issue, I've got him. This is Oshkosh at its finest.
Yeah, they're flying low.
This guy's in the wrong altitude for a wheel plane. He should be higher, but that's what you kind of expect, right? That's the beauty of EAA is you have a lot of mix of talent and experience all flying together, which is pretty cool.
Brant from Colton Morgan's is back here, and he is sitting next to a stretcher.
Yeah.
Brant, you didn't want to sit in the stretcher?
No, I thought I'd pass on that.
Are all your 206s kind of configured this way?
Yeah, this is 65% of our flights are medevacs.
Okay.
So we'll have this. We also have another seat we'll put behind where Grant's at. So we'll have a nurse back there. Usually we have to bring a caregiver from the village. The hospitals over there, they give them medicine, but there's no, they don't feed them, they don't clothe them, they don't bathe them. And so we use caregivers from the village that come out and take care of their own people, bathe them, feed them. We even have to give them a bowl and a cup and a eating utensil so they can get food.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise they won't get fed. So it's one of those things that you learn early on when our first patients weren't getting fed that, I guess we need to supply some basic things for them.
Hey, Mark, are your pilots EMTs as well, or do you take like an EMT in if you're administering, anti-venom shots and things?
Grant, we have a nurse with us on most of our all of our emergency flights. If they're a level 1 or 2 or 3, there's always a nurse on board.
But do your pilots have any kind of medical training?
We've had a few that had EMT,
okay.
But I've always, I've been doing this a while, and I've never felt like I could fix somebody and fly the airplane at the same time. So
okay,
we have so many other things that we have to be skilled at that we just have never required.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To be an EMT or a nurse, but obviously that's great training if you have it. I'll just do a little pattern here and
Which one's Warbird Island?
This big one right behind us.
Okay. And so that's just a navigation marker for the warbirds coming in, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it, and that's kind of one of the places they hit before they turn inbound.
I see.
Put you on a right base basically for the it's a 2-9 or.
Well, probably
would it be 136? 36. That's right. Yep. Right base for 36, which is pretty much the runway that's used 90% of the time. It seems like, based on these winds. All right. So going through my checklist again here. Got flaps. Gear is up. We head through here. Fuel selector's on the right tank. If you'll notice, we have gear position 3 times because in a float plane,
if you land with gear up down, I know that you can pretty much die, right?
Well, you flip in about 2 seconds or less, and you're upside down. It's not good. So, gear is a big deal on a float plane. That's probably the most important thing you do.
So this is Warbird Island.
That's
right
Warbird
here.
Island there. Yeah. The challenge is there's lots of birds on there, and so we try to avoid stirring them all up.
Lots of swans or cranes.
All right, flaps. We'll go 20 degrees of flaps. Water rudders are up. Ground flaps are open. Prop is in. Fuel is in. So I've scanned this area as we were flying over it. So I feel confident we can land here. The water's deep enough and.
Water landing. Gear is up for water landing.
I'll do a little turn for you too.
Oh, nice.
But you can kind of see these planes can turn around a river pretty tight.
Yeah, and you're at like 43 knots right now. You touch down at about 53.
Yep, 49 to 53 usually.
That's really slow. Yeah, that's amazing.
I think that goes back to the mods that we have on this plane, from the wing extensions to the Robertson Stoll kit that's on here.
Nice.
All of that's helping us fly slower. We have VGs as well. And so we're able to really fly at a slow, stable airspeed. It helps us get off the water quickly as well as land slowly. And the joke over there is always you either have a 1, 2, or 3 log takeoff. We want a no log takeoff, so we get these planes designed to where they have every mod that you can put on them, and that allows us to get off quickly. You guys want to do another landing on the water? I can do one on one float if I want. If I show you how we go around a corner.
Yeah, show me how you go around a corner. Okay. Now, on the stationaires, 206s, do they all have this brace here?
Just Seaplane. A lot of the ones on wheels, like in the mountains, you would have them, but it's a Seaplane mod. Okay. So if you're flying a Seaplane, it's a requirement. It's just a brace basically to keep everything together on rough water. That's the idea. We also have a rudder. Our main rudder is about 8 inches longer than a standard rudder.
Okay.
So that's really a telltale sign of a seaplane mod, as well as the longer.
See, I would have thought the
rudder.
telltale sign was these big things out here where the wheels usually are.
Yeah. Well, the floats help, but if you see a plane on wheels, sometimes they'll have these mods.
Oh, and you'll know it's
a seaplane mod. That's right. But yeah, obviously, if you look outside, you'll see some big things hanging down, which knocks off, by the way, about 20 knots of airspeed.
I was wondering how much. 20's not that as much as I thought.
And about 450 pounds of useful load. So
that's a lot.
As amazing as they are, it does penalize you a bit. But when you look at the alternative, it's getting places or not getting places.
Well, and you mentioned that you guys are, basically air ambulance. Do you guys go in at night at all?
In Papua New Guinea, it's illegal to fly at night. Okay. And for us, the river's really dangerous, honestly.
It's dangerous at day.
It's dangerous at day. You would not want to try that at night.
So if the snake bit at night, they're just out of luck.
They're hanging on. Sometimes we can talk to them and they can do a tourniquet around. If you tourniquet right next to where the snake bite happens, you can stop and slow down the process of the poison reaching the rest of the body. So we sometimes will talk people through things. Also, if we do deal with tribal wounds as well, so people getting shot full of arrows and things like that. So we're dealing with a lot of that triage all the time.
Hey, Mark, is there a difference between a seaplane and a float plane, or are they just different names?
Technically, I think you've got the flying, whole airplanes like a CB or something like that, and I technically could say that's a seaplane. This would be a float plane. It's kind of mixed match. Yep. In New Guinea, we always say seaplane or water plane because they don't know what floats means anyway. So when we talk about it over there and we're telling stories, we always call them water airplanes. All right, my gear is up.
Thank you.
I'll show you what we do. So the one thing about river flying, especially taking off, you don't want to lift off slow and in a turn. And so a lot of times we'll take off on one float, and for me, I want to keep contact with the water as long as possible before I'm flying, because then you're, now you're in the air in a turn, which is never a good thing, slow and hot and heavy. So a lot of times I'll turn around a river, and then I'll get up on one float and I'll keep it there, and I'll stay there so that I can get it just once I touch the power, we're off.
Oh wow!
So you wait for that straightaway, and now you're off the water.
You're basically skiing.
Yeah,
and then you're able to just quickly lift off as you navigate the bends of a river or whatever.
Correct.
Wow.
So that's I tell people, look, this isn't just a good tool to do the job. It's the only tool that can do the job that we're doing.
Yeah.
Making a difference through aviation. How cool is that?
Yeah, that is amazing. Do you take any kind of, people like me, maybe a little bit older, who just want to come help for a couple of weeks? Is that a possibility, or is that just too much hassle?
It's a lot of effort to get all the way over there, but it depends on if you have a skill set that we could use, whether it's mechanicking, or if you're a doctor or medical person, and there's some different outreaches that we do, or some specialty. We'd love to talk to you more about coming over and doing some type of an outreach or be with the team over there. It's remote. Logistically, everything is super hard. But if you have a skill set, and we usually like teams of between 2 and 3 to come at a time. One of the amazing things we're doing right now, Dan, is we just bought a piece of property, and we're getting ready to build 8 houses and a training center on it.
Okay.
And we're going to need teams to come over and help us build those kit homes. And so there is a lot of need in the next 2 years for teams to come. If you like to build things, or you want to help erect some bush houses and help us build, we'd love to talk to you. So there's really a lot of opportunities right now in different areas to help us continue to grow. And along with the 8 Houses Training Center, we're also building a base on the other side of the island. People don't realize Papua New Guinea is the 2nd largest island in the world.
Oh, wow.
And so you're dealing, that's New Guinea. Papua New Guinea's half of that island.
Right.
And so, you're talking about 12 million people and 840 languages. And so people think, oh, you're on a small island or whatever. No, it's the size of California. And through the middle of the island, there's 14,000-foot mountains.
Right.
And so it's very a unique place. It's 4 degrees off the equator, so it's very hot, tropical, and very rugged and remote. Very few roads, very little infrastructure. And so airplane and aviation has been a life changer for everybody really in that country since the war and World War II. And so this is, we're opening a base. When I say we're opening a base on the other side of the island, that's over the 14,000-foot mountains.
Wow.
Down on the other side, there's more water, no roads, and people are dying trying to get to the only hospital. And this plane is going to be headed to that part of the island. We're going to be expanding out to serve an additional 200,000.
So you have a second base.
It'll be a second base. People will live there full time. Our staff will have a floating dock, hangar, and so that's really the future. That's where we're going in the next year to 2 years, and that's why we need additional pilots, because the government has asked us to come over there. We've seen the need. I recently was over there with a float plane doing an assessment to make sure it will work. And in September of this year, will be our first medical outreach with one of the remote hospitals out there, going into places that no one's ever seen doctors. No one's ever seen nurses. They don't have any immunizations when it comes to measles, whooping cough, polio, or any of those things. And polio came back to New Guinea a couple years ago.
Oh no!
And we were able to deliver hundreds of thousands of polio vaccines.
Wow!
As it started to spread through the country and help stop it. And so, some of these diseases and things that we don't even think about anymore.
I've got a powered parachute.
Got them. Thanks. We don't think about them, but they're real. And these people are dying from those things still.
Wow. That is awesome. Brant, you ready for us to go do some seaplane training?
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to get a seaplane rating, and this would certainly give purpose, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing, the challenge of seaplane flying in America is it's once you get your rating.
What do? You
either have to go buy an airplane, or you're
just rusty. Yeah.
You just get rustier and rustier, and you really don't learn. You learn how to not die on a lake, but you really don't know a whole lot. You know?
Right.
And so typically, if you don't go buy one or know somebody who owns one, people just kind of lose their ability. And but it's I would encourage any pilot, go get it. It's an amazing experience flying an airplane on the water.
Yeah. I can absolutely see it. Well, Mark, thank you so much for this trip, and we'll make sure that we've got the contact information, SamaritanAviation.org, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if you want to help out in a whole bunch of different ways, short term, going out to help build, going out to help mechanic, move some wrenches, turn some wrenches, or whatever, medical. Reach out, see what they've got on their website for what their biggest needs are, and it's truly amazing.
We also, Dan, we have a Facebook page, Instagram, okay. So we're telling stories every few days, so we'd love to have you follow us on Instagram, okay. Sign up on Facebook, and we also do a monthly newsletter every month, an e-newsletter or paper as well. People want to just kind of hear more stories of lives changed, lives saved. You can go to our website, sign up really quickly on the homepage. And also, we're looking for donations. As we grow, our operations are going up, operations costs, and so we're always looking for additional partners to help us fulfill that our call to serve those people in Papua New Guinea.
Awesome. Oh, look at that! The Ford Tri-Motor coming up.
Yeah, for some reason today they like the seaplane base. They usually like this guy too. He's right here.
What's the shortest distance you can land, Mark?
Well, they'll tell you 600 feet. It's all dependent on current and wind and everything else, and weight, obviously.
Yeah.
Takeoff is always longer in a seaplane.
So average, you would just say 600 feet for landing?
Yeah, I would say 600 to 800 feet for landing, and probably 1,000 feet to 1,500 feet for takeoff. It's usually a second thing. So 30 seconds if you're loaded to get off. Probably the calmest the lake has been all week.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, it's really, too calm is not good, because in glassy water it's like the most dangerous thing for seaplane flying.
Why? Because things get hidden?
You can't tell your depth perception, so you don't know how high you are.
Oh, okay.
So guys will you really can't differentiate the sky from the water. And so you'll literally flare about 5 feet high, and then you'll pancake it in. That's kind of a traditional glassy water situation. I've seen it to where you cannot tell the difference.
Oh, wow.
So you do a lot of training for that. And basically all of that is you just base 200 foot a minute descent, and you don't look outside.
Well, and I guess you can't
just wait to the water.
If you're a little bit long in your landing, it's not like you can stand on the brakes.
Yeah, no, you gotta plan well.
Yeah.
If you're doing what I just did. Don't come in too fast and get the wrong winds or something. All right, seatbelts off, guys.
All right, seatbelts off.
Samaritan 6 Papa Tango, we see you in the bay. Are you going to require any services? Are you just changing out passengers, or state your intentions?
Yeah, so we're just going to go to Dock 7, change out some passengers, be here probably 5-10 minutes if that's all right.
I see Dock 7 currently open. Let us give someone a call and make sure we can get you out there, okay?
Sounds great, thanks.
All right, well, guys, thank you for watching. Thanks, Mark, for the awesome flight. You know what to do. Go visit, go help out. Incredible work going on. Thank you to our sponsors who make this happen. I got Brent is back here from Colten Mortgage, coltentakingoff.com for your residential mortgage need. Flying eyes, we're all wearing flying eyes, and these are the Luzons with the snap-on lenses. You can get readers like he has, or
Samaritan 6 Papa Tango. Dock 7 is open. Proceed at your discretion. We don't have anybody answering right now to get out there to help you.
Roger that, thanks.
So use our discount code taking off, all caps, one word, 10% off, and also Z-Vision, brightest landing and taxi lights that are out there. 67 designs. I've got great camera mounts that we're using. And you can also tablets and iPhones. 67D.com. We've got Marshall Protective Services, MPSprotects.com, personal security elevated, and Clemens Insurance, ClemensInsurance.net. Jerry has saved me a lot of money on my own insurance for Lola. So check those guys out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Watch the videos. That's the best way to support us and support our sponsors. We'll see you guys next time. Taking off.